And a good morning to you. Welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Bridgestone Golf. Play the ball that fits you. By Sea Palms Resort, featuring the Miracle Practice Facility for members. By Mizuno Golf, reach beyond. By RSM, proud sponsor of the RSM Classic, giving back to our communities. And by Club Car, the global leader in golf, utility, and fun personal vehicles. On the show, we're going to talk with Mark Ridell of Club Car about the Tour Championship Ryder Cup and their relationship with PGA of America. Next up, we'll talk with Kirsten Sayers of LRT Sports on how the new rules with college sponsorships will change college sports, especially football, basketball, and now golf as well, as these kids go out and possibly their agents go out trying to find sponsorships. Then we'll talk about Ryder Cup teams with PGA Tour caddy Paul Tesori and how he would rate his season with Webb this year. It's one of the best partnerships in golf, I think, right now. Those guys really make a great team. Speaking of a great team, next up is Club Car's Mark Ridell. Good morning, Mark, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Good morning, Rich. Thanks for having me on this morning.
It is always a pleasure. I know that the Club Car is at the Tour Championship, so tell us what you guys are displaying Tour Championship at East Lake.
Yeah, absolutely. This week, obviously, we're very excited to be a part of the Tour Championship. Obviously, one of the premier events of the PGA calendar, and excited to watch the battle. But if you're lucky enough to be out there and attending, we'd love for you to come by and see us at the Club Car tent, where we are displaying our new current product. It's the final mile delivery product in our new micromobility space that we're pursuing. And we also have our personal transportation vehicle, the Onward product, which has been launched with a lot of fanfare and excitement. Great premier product for people to be using in their local communities.
And tell us more, Mark, about the PTV, the Onward line.
Sure, absolutely. It's been a fantastic trend, especially in the United States, growing in popularity, using golf carts in the neighborhoods instead of their family cars. And really, it's a lifestyle change for people to enjoy being out in the air with their families and getting through their communities, both playing golf as well as moving around to the amenities inside their community. So it's a great new trend. We've got the Onward product, which has been the best in class for quality and performance since 2017.
Mark, technology has changed a lot about what golf carts or PTVs have been doing over the years. What kind of technology have y'all added over the last couple of years, especially this year, that is unique and now more easily accessible to today's modern technology?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rich. As you see in the automotive space, lithium ion has become very popular. Well, we've moved that into the personal transportation vehicle as well, the Onward product. So you can now get the product in a lithium ion, which obviously is great from an electrical and efficiency perspective and cost for maintaining an ownership. But also we're introducing a new Vistage technology, which is giving the rider front screen ability to see their speed, what their power pack is doing, so they never have to worry about whether or not they have enough energy to get where they're going. And that also enables you to play the game of golf if you're in a golfing community where you can actually switch over to a golfer experience. So technology is coming fast to the consumer industry.
All right. And your next stop after East Lake is going to be the Ryder Cup, where Club Car at Whistling Straits provides the cars for the captains. And this year, obviously, USA, red, white, and blue.
That's right. Yeah, we're privileged to be a part of the Ryder Cup. We've done this for many years, and we do it both here in the United States as well as in Europe on their 2-year rotation. Unfortunately, this year we'll be up at Whistling Straits for the Ryder Cup in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, we do. We provide the captain's car where we outfit them both for the European team as well as the U.S. team, and you'll see them sparkling in the red, white, and blue, and you'll also see them in the European colors as well.
So you've been to Ryder Cups. I've never been, but just watching them on TV, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the love your country is just so evident. Being there, what is it like for you to be at a Ryder Cup?
it's a wonderful experience and very different to your normal golf experience.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. There is that nationalism that comes out. It's hair raising. You definitely enjoy each of those moments, and you love to see your team come through. But it's a unique experience. If you ever get a chance, you've got to get there.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Tesori is coming up later on the show, and I've talked to him about Webb playing in the Ryder Cup and him. And there's a lot of pressure playing for your country. I mean, it's not only playing for a golf tournament, playing to win, but you're playing for your country.
That's right. You're representing, and you can feel the tension. It's palpable when you're with the group. You got anywhere from 10 to 25 to 30,000 people around one hole trying to watch what's happening. It's intense.
Yeah, and it just seems like a 3-foot putt can just throw you off base for the rest of the day. But
without a doubt.
Yeah. All right. You and I talked, and you mentioned this earlier. You and I talked in Savannah at the Club Car Championship at the Landings about, rather than call them golf carts, or now we're calling them private transportation vehicles. When did that start?
I would say that started in 2017, Rich, as we saw the explosion on this consumer side of the business. Obviously, golf cars have been used traditionally over the years. Afterlife, we call it an afterlife experience, right? So you got your 4 years on course, and what do you do after? And so that was being sold into the communities to do many different things. But as you saw these communities that are developing their own, amenities locally to them, they wanted a way to travel to those, and they started using golf cars. So we decided that a PTV, the personal transportation vehicle, required more than just a golf car. So it's how do you outfit that and make it special, personalize it, but also provide a higher level of quality because you're going to be on road, and safety for those customers. And that's when we started getting into the personal transportation vehicle.
And how, when you make a personal transportation vehicle street-wise, what is the speed limit roughly?
So two categories. You have your PTV, which is 19 miles an hour and below, and then you have an LSV, low-speed vehicle, which is 25 miles an hour and below. So the low-speed vehicle, you go a little bit faster, but you have to have rollover protection and seat belts to make sure the occupants are safer.
Right. All right. Tell us about the relationship with Club Car and PGA of America. That's been going on for quite a while, and that is great for you at Club Car.
Yeah, we've had a wonderful relationship with the PGA for many years, and we are the official golf car of the PGA of America. Our two teams have worked side by side, and we are grateful for that relationship, and we continue to help them as well as the rest of the game grow in many different factors. We're part of the First Tee, junior leagues, all the way up to the professionals, and we love that relationship because it's core to our overall business.
Yeah, and you also have a great relationship with one of our own, Grayson Sigg, who's had a great year on the Korn Ferry Tour and is going to be playing on the PGA Tour this year. You guys couldn't have picked anybody better.
We are very fortunate to have Grayson as a part of our ambassador program. And I don't know if you're familiar, but we call it the ambassador program, and it allows us the ability to share our products with people inside of the golf and other industries like music, but also other athletic programs. And it's just a way for us to share, the Onward product and what we do and the lifestyle, and sharing their lifestyle on the social medias. It's a great program, and Jason's done an amazing job. Grayson's done an amazing job for us.
He really has, and he's done an amazing job for himself because next year he's up on PGA Tour in the top 5, so hoping he gets up to top 1. So let's talk about your second year as the title sponsor of the Club Car Championship at the Landings Club in Savannah.
Yeah, we're proud to be entering into our second sponsor year with the Club Car Championship at the Landings Club in Savannah. A great partnership here as well. The community has just been overwhelming in terms of their support and welcome of our products on course. We had an incredible first year with Adam Svensson lifting, the trophy. So next year we have an expectation of it being even bigger as we continue to build our relationship with the Korn Ferry Tour, and we support the very best upcoming players of the future. So mark your calendars for next March, and we hope to see you out there. It'll be incredible.
Well, I'll be there, and you and I will get together, I'm sure, prior to that, but we definitely will get to. Mark, thanks for being with us, taking the time, and hearing all about what's going on at Club Car.
It's always a pleasure, Rich. Thank you very much.
All right. Mark Raquel of Club Car talking about the Onward series. Next up is Kirsten Sires of LRT Sports. We're going to talk about how the new ruling with the NCAA will change college players and how they view maybe where they go based on what they do as far as the opportunity for sponsorships. But first, I'm going to tell you, have kids ever asked you about a different kind of a birthday party? Well, if they did, the place to go is CJ's Italian Restaurant. Check out their full menu at cjsitalianrestaurant.com and check out their monthly specials created by the local elementary schools. Part of the proceeds, if you pick those pizzas, go to the elementary schools. CJ's is known for deep dish, and I mean, they are great. It is unbelievable. Also, their thin crust cauliflower pizza is also good. Check out the full menu. Talk to Graham and Ada when you go in at cjsitalianrestaurant.com. Welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We're so glad that you are with us. Our next guest, and we're so glad she is with us, specializes in helping athletes and their families understanding, which is a key word, college athletics. And now with sponsorships, it becomes even more important to have help. And I want to say good morning to a good friend, Kirsten Tyers of LRT Sports. Good morning, Kirsten. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? I'm great.
I am wonderful. I'm glad you
Happy
are with us.
Saturday.
Yeah, happy. Always Saturdays are happy. You bet.
Yeah.
All right. You and I kind of talked a little bit yesterday about this change in college athletics. And of course, it's going to mean more for football, basketball programs, baseball, probably some others, but golf is also going to be involved. And how has that recent ruling by the NCAA on players to secure endorsements? It's going to change college sports forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing to understand here is yes, it's going to inherently help the football and basketball players of the world, but it's also going to help the smaller sports as well, because you're now looking at a situation where they can monetize themselves. And we're actually seeing, with name, image, and likeness deals coming through, that a lot of the players that are making money in big 7-figure deals and everything else are actually the ones that had a social media brand before this rule kind of passed. So you see there's a LSU gymnast who's doing 7-figure deals. There's the twin basketball players who are doing, pretty big deals. And, this just impacts all sports across the board, because it's not necessarily just about how good you are. It's about the brand that you can create and really starting your own business in a sense.
Yeah, and one of the things, I was talking with one of the guys at the golf course yesterday, and I know we're going to switch back to football, but let's say it's a quarterback who's got 7 figures in endorsements, and he's got a lineman up front who don't have anything. Yet they want to protect the quarterback because that's his job, but he's got 7 figures coming in, and this guy's got nothing. I mean, it just creates a different scenario, so to speak, for that person who is doing very well with endorsements and somebody who may not be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be, maybe some locker room politics. I think it's really going to be dependent on the coach and how they handle that with their
Right.
players. Number one. And number two, I think, again, the thing to note is it's just like anything else as far as creating a business or being an entrepreneur or anything else like that is concerned. And there's going to be players in every sport at every school that just get the deals because of how they perform on the field. But for 99% of the athletes, it's really going to be about what you bring to the table for these companies. And, I know you and I spoke briefly, but one of the things, my husband played football in college, and he was like, I would have loved to have run a camp when I went home, every summer, and just had kids come through the camp and promoted myself and done it that way. And I think those are going to be more of the things that you see. The 7-figure deals aren't going to come to everybody. But you see a lot of these kids now, especially with social media, and I think that's why this push really happened with, anywhere from 1 to 4 to 5 million followers on TikTok and Instagram and all these other things. And they have a huge market, and that's untapped potential for a lot of these companies. So I think that, while it might create some issues when you're talking about just people getting deals for playing time or who they are as a player,
Right.
I think when it comes to seeing athletes work really hard for their money and building those brands and doing what they need to do, I'm sure that that'll also create a different dynamic with players, because it's not just going to be everybody that kind of gets it handed to them.
So when you talk with some of these athletes, this is obviously going to be part of the discussion. Do you also help them with their social media presence? I mean, trying to get more followers. I mean, is that the name of the game? Is who has the most followers, how you can get them on TikTok or whatever other social media platform that they want to go to?
Yeah, I think that's like a really important part of it. I do think if you're looking to have an online presence, I think social media is the way to go. But like I mentioned, there's other ways that athletes are kind of going about this and doing the big thing that you always think of when you think of, high school football, Friday Night Lights, even college football. You think of the car dealerships. And for anybody that's watched Friday Night Lights, the Buddy Garrity's of the show, who are the boosters and everything else. So I've actually been seeing a ton of athletes are starting to do deals with local car dealerships and everything else. So I think that There's going to be those like brick and mortar type deals, and then there's going to be the ones that are the online digital marketing type presence, which is going to be more of the social media. But the social media ones are really attractive. Those are the big brands. Those are your Gatorades, Coca-Colas, everything else that are going to come to you and say, hey, we'll give you X amount per post or do a campaign with you or anything else. I mean, there was just a college football player who did the whole deal with Kool-Aid and everything else. So I think when it comes to that, that's where things are going to kind of really be where you're making a lot of money. But I don't know, is it important for every single student athlete to be making that amount of money? I think it depends. For a lot of athletes, your life cycle is kind of done when you're done with college sports, especially for female sports, especially for smaller sports.
Right.
There is no pro opportunity after. So now's your time to make money. Or some kids are going to go into it thinking, I could have an on-campus job where I'm swiping key cards, or I could be trying to do something else with my name, image, and likeness now.
Sure. Yeah, well, let's get to the golf. I mean, part of the golf, I could just see one of the golfers who's maybe 1-on-5 who has a buddy that has Jaime's Bar and Grill, and he's got his logo on his shirt, Jaime's Bar and Grill. I mean, it just, some of the lesser sports are probably going to not get those major sport deals, although, again, 1%, 2% of those players might. But they're going to go after their local, where they're from, the neighborhood they were in, the community, the city, the county, and trying to find sponsors if that's something that they feel so inclined to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like I mentioned, like the LSU gymnasts, women's basketball, men's golf, men's tennis, everything that is not the big, huge sports of the, college and basketballs of the world. All those players are going to have, just as the ability to kind of create that brand for themselves, and they can go to those local places and get agents and do whatever they need to do. I don't know the exact number, but I would imagine the percentage of college student athletes going to play golf in college has to be 1%, maybe less. I'm not exactly sure. But again, while you're in college and you have the ability to kind of use your name, image, and likeness and promote yourself as a college student athlete, you might as well do it, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are looking at a computer screen after they graduate.
Trying to find a job and find a city that they want to live in.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it okay now for the college athletes, let's say the member of the golf team, to go out and get an agent to help him get some extra dollars and endorsements and sponsorships?
Yes, it is. So a lot of laws are going to depend state to state, but as of right now, everybody can go out and get an agent. My thing with that would be I would recommend and make sure you do your due diligence ahead of time to make sure that you are going with somebody that's not just trying to, capitalize on this like low-hanging fruit right now and being shady about business dealings or anything else. So you want to make sure you're going with somebody who's like trusted. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an agent to help you go pro, but it could be a business agent or manager or anybody else that kind of knows social media that can kind of help you accomplish whatever it is that you want. Because again, there might be somebody out there who's thinking, I'm just going to make money now. I don't want to be a professional golfer. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, you can get an agent. And other than that, you just really have to be paying attention to what laws are being passed in which states. And to your point, that's going to impact recruiting.
I was just going to get into recruiting. Yeah, that's going to, where can I make some money, or where can I build my brand?
Yeah, I think programs are going to start to put an emphasis on that. I know there's one company out there called Influencer that's been kind of partnering with a bunch of schools and been preparing for this name, image, and likeness kind of era of sports. And a lot of schools are partnered with them. And I think that they do a good job of trying to empower athletes to be able to kind of, have access to their name, image, and likeness and be able to promote themselves. But at the same time, they're going to be the ones that have to do all the work, and they're going to have to be the ones where they decide now, hey, is somewhere in a state that has better name, image, and likeness rules better for me? Is it really just about going to the school? Is this going to be a factor in what type of sport what type of school I decide to go to? And there's plenty of, TikTok influencers right now that were college athletes and then stopped being were recruited to be a college athlete and then stopped because they weren't able to make money. Now you're going to see the next generation saying, I could still make money off of my 1,000,000 followers and be a college athlete. What's that going to look like for me? Where's going to be the most profitable to go?
Right. So does that change your elevator speech, so to speak, when you go in to talk to parents and athletes as far as you want to build your brand, you want to have an opportunity to build yourself up because the possibility of endorsements? Do you now have to include some discussions about if you're going to hire an agent or somebody to work with, you need to be careful? So does that expand what you all do now?
Yeah, a little bit. So we started a series called Name, Image, and Likeness Academy, NIL Academy. So that's one of the things that we started doing. Quite frankly, we've been writing content about name, image, and likeness and covering this since a couple years now. And
Right.
we've been really big advocates for athletes being able to have access to their name, image, and likeness. Not that anybody's saying a school should have to pay an athlete, but more on the side of they can do outside deals with third parties, I think is the big part here. And we've been covering that. We have a girl on our team who specifically specializes in that. And, we've worked with legislators to help them understand what's happening with it. Because, a lot of times there's people who are making laws that don't necessarily understand the full scope and they just think football and basketball. And I think through
Right.
this, you're now seeing, again, there's all different types of athletes in different sports making money off their name, image, and likeness. And that's kind of debunked that whole initial theory. And again, of course, there's certain players in every sport where the faucet's going to be turned on overnight. But for most of us, it's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So true. So
yeah.
true.
But such is life,
Yeah,
that's how,
it
how
is.
it is with everything, to be honest
That's
with
it.
you. So,
Yeah.
when it comes to how we've been thinking about it, we've been covering it from the like news side of it for a while now. But the one thing that we did is we started that NIL Academy, and I think we'll continue to cover it and make sure athletes are aware of it because, of course, we deal with recruiting and everything else, but we do have a lot of college athletes on our site. And we want to make sure that we are supporting them in whatever way that they need because there's a lot of questions right now. There's a lot of
Oh, sure.
unanswered things. There's a lot of situations that we don't really have all the answers to at this moment.
Right. Well, give us the website so our college athletes and or families can go to it so they can learn more about you and LRT Sports.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just lrtsports.com. That's kind of how you can get to the website. And we're on all forms of social media and everything like that as well. So, yeah, that's how you can get to us. LRT Sports for everything.
All right. Here's the scenario for golf. Let's say a kid is going to go to and make a decision to go to UGA or whatever other college, Big 10, Big 12, whatever, ACC. And he knows he's going to be the eighth or ninth player on the golf team. He may then decide to go to a lesser school, maybe a D2 school or less, because he will be one of the top three golfers on that team because there's not as much talent because he will have more of an opportunity to get endorsements and make some money while he's in school. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think you'll see that a lot.
Okay.
And again, like this is with anything with recruiting at all, though. It depends on the person's priorities. It depends on what you want. Some people are fine being a bench player for University of Alabama and winning championships,
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
people want to be the 4-year All-American at a school who's, is not as established in football. So it really depends on what you want. But I do think you're going to start to see that. And I do think it is going to change a lot of recruiting pitches.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be brought up in the conversation where it wasn't before. And I think coaches who aren't bringing it up are probably going to be leaving out a big market for themselves because I think it's something that they could really, really supplement with recruiting.
Well, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for spending a Saturday morning with us. It's always
Of
good to see
course.
you. All right.
Yeah,
Have a
you as
great night.
well.
All right.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Bye.
You're welcome. Kirsten Sires of LRT Sports talking about all the changes with the NIL program. Up next, PGA Tour caddy, good friend Paul Tesori on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
I'm Brandel Chambly of Chambly Piece of Golf, and you are listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show with Rich Style.
And welcome back. We are so glad that you are with us. We are so glad that our next guest is with us. Paul Tesori has caddied for Webb Simpson for quite a while. Good morning, Paul. How are you this morning?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on again. I love the show and love listening to it when I'm not on. So anytime I have a chance, I like to take advantage of it.
Oh, man, thank you for the promo. I really appreciate that.
You can pay me later. Venmo's fine.
I'll see you at the RSM. I'll be with you guys again.
There we go.
All right. Paul, how would you rate this year for Webb?
Boy, I'm going to go B-.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a year we obviously had very high expectations to win at least once, if not a couple of times. It just kind of got off to a rocky start for us. We had a good fall, and then Webb got COVID in late December, actually day after Christmas, and both him and his wife, Dal, just kind of suffered long-term COVID effects. It went all the way in 6 to 8 months down where they were still struggling with taste, sense of smell. Webb would have the sweats and have rapid heart rate, increases, and had some neck issues during the year. So it was one of those years where we just never felt like we got into a rhythm. And, to miss the Tour Championship for the first time since 2016 was really disappointing for us. But we ended up kind of looking deeper into the stats. He finished 8th on the PGA Tour in scoring, 2nd in, non-adjusted scoring, 4th in Saturday scoring, 2nd in Sunday scoring. All of his stats looked really, really good. I just think it was the problem that we never could quite get into a rhythm. And the one thing that we try to judge our year on is, did we make it to East Lake, and did we have a lot of chances to win? And
right.
Unfortunately, when we look at those numbers, we really didn't have, I think, more than one opportunity truly to win. And then obviously missing East Lake was disappointing.
So that was one of the goals at the beginning of the year, was to make East Lake. What about the goal?
Always at the beginning of the year, our goal is you can't control wins. We want to win every year, but when we truly look at our goals, ones that we think that we should be able to achieve each year if we've done our job well, it would be to make it to East Lake and to make the team event each year. That's always kind of our little gauge. Are we playing consistently good golf? Are we putting ourselves in positions to win? Some years, you can pop up and win a couple of times, and, other years you end up, hitting that dry spell where you don't win. Sometimes you just get beat. These guys are really good. But if you've made the team event and made East Lake, you've had a good year.
All right. So there is talk that Webb is in the discussions for possibly being picked for the Ryder Cup. How do y'all feel about that? And would that make this a better year if Webb made the Ryder Cup team?
Yeah, so start with the second question first. Yes. If you make the Ryder Cup team, it definitely would kind of, I think, raise that B- up to a B, maybe even a B+.
Okay.
Being on the team events every year, it's a big thing. Personally, I love them. I love the camaraderie with the guys. You get to spend more time with them than you do at any other part of the year. There's a closeness and a unity with the team. That's just, it's second to none, the experience. To be able to, it'll only be my second Ryder Cup team on home soil, which would be a great experience. And Webb's definitely in discussion. Both I and he have both talked to the captains and assistant captains, and we know that there's a very strong choice. Obviously for Webb's, he's done 6 team events now, and having such a good year, at least consistency-wise, top 25 in putting, top 10 and around the greens, and then, like I said, scoring top 10 and top 4 on Saturday and Sunday. So we know they're looking at him. He's a team unity guy. He's going to bring guys close.
Yeah.
I kind of call him that all-star utility infielder in baseball, where you can put him anywhere at any time, and he's going to be ready to go. And with whoever you put him with, he'll be ready to go. So a lot of it's going to depend on what happens this weekend in East Lake, kind of with all the guys that are fighting for the spots. It looks like there's about 5 guys fighting for the 2 spots. Seems like the top 10 are pretty much all set. And then, those 5 are kind of in the hat for the last 2 spots.
Well, I've got Weber in for one of those 2 spots because I think from a maturity standpoint, experience standpoint, he is as you said, he can play with anybody on that team.
Yeah, and I think coming off that really strong performance in France, even though, we got beat Weber beat the number one player in the world at the top of his game, being Justin Rose in singles. Him and Bubba played extremely well and won, an alternate shot as well. What went 2-1 for the week, and I think possibly could have been better if he'd have had another start in there. But I think that has a lot to do with that kind of push forward as well.
All right, let's go back a few years. You and Webb had some phone conversations, and I know you kind of interviewed him instead of him interviewing you. But I also know that you and I have talked many times, but you've never talked to me and challenged me over pancakes.
That's a good story. I don't know how many people know that one. Yeah. So my first year working for Weber, 2011, he was 213th in the world. We had played 2 events together. I'd caddied for him, and a mediocre finish in Sony, and then a miscut in San Diego. And so we got done. We had a whole weekend to go play and practice and mess around. So Saturday morning, we went to IHOP, and he didn't think I could eat 12 IHOP pancakes. So I threw down 15 IHOP pancakes on him, and then we went and practiced for about 8 hours. And there were a lot of laughs over the next 8 hours. We gambled, we laughed, we talked about, the things I thought he needed to do to get better. And I mean, who knew what that season was going to have in store for us? I think 12 top 10s, 22 top 25s, 2 wins, almost won the FedEx Cup, missed by a shot, winning there for the second. So, Webb's a guy that he's driven. He's got incredibly gifted hands. And yeah, so Operation Pancake definitely was a success.
And now do you start off the year with pancakes and try and beat your record of 15?
Maybe we should. Maybe we should go back to that, Rich.
A lot of carbs.
Not a bad idea. We could go visit it the week of either Maui or Sony. And go do that. They don't have an IHOP in Maui. They definitely have one in Honolulu. So that was the place where we did the pancake eating.
Wow.
Pre-planning. So maybe we'll revisit that again in Honolulu this year.
Yeah. One of the things that I've always been impressed with is how open you are and how, upfront you are. But your relationship with Webb is just the same. But it is, in my opinion, one of the most special relationships with a caddy that I would compare to none other than you two together.
Yeah, we get caddies all the time, and even other players. They'll sit us down and say, "Okay, guys, talk to us. So, y'all stay together almost every week on the road." I'm like, "Yeah, we do." How do you not get sick of each other? And then I always say, "Weber, I'll let you take this." It's kind of that perfect marriage.
Yeah.
Like, the fact is that we like similar things, but we also like different things. So him and I could sit in a room. He could be reading a book or, studying a certain book of the Bible. And I might be listening to a sermon or reading or listening to a podcast of some kind, or, maybe there's sports that we both like the NBA, both like to watch the NBA. And so maybe there's a game on, but we can go an hour without speaking and be perfectly okay in that. So that part kind of makes it easy. You don't feel like you have to be on. And I think that's where you can get a little bit of a problem as a boss employee, is that if you feel like when the golf is done now, there was a couple times this year when we were really getting frustrated. We thought we threw away a really good tournament in Memphis. And then after Greensboro was probably the hardest loss I've had to take in a long time. We lost by 1, and we just made so many mental mistakes trying to chase a win instead of just playing golf.
Right.
And at the end of the week, it was probably the worst job I had done in 21 years caddying. And I didn't really realize why until a couple of days after. But I basically got caught in the trap of I was caddying like a player. I was caddying to win a golf tournament instead of just doing my job hole by hole for 72 holes. It's his job to go out there and win a golf tournament. It's his job to go out there and want to be aggressive. It's my job to call timeout when he's trying to be too aggressive. And that was a hard one to take. And it could end up it cost us East Lake. It cost us a win, in my opinion. And then, I might end up costing us a Ryder Cup. And, you can't go back in time. You got to kind of learn from it and then move forward and go, okay, I won't make that mistake again. And I'm pretty sure I won't allow myself to make that mistake again.
Yeah. That is a fine line. You bring that up. Sometimes playing too aggressive takes you out of your game plan.
Yeah, and that's what happened. All 3, we made 2 doubles and a triple at Wyndham, and we lost by 1. And that's kind of our MO, is we don't make doubles. He had the longest streak in a major championship over like the last 21 years or something without a double. I think it was 7 straight tournaments. had made 16 straight cuts in majors and all that, is because we have a weird mantra.
Yeah.
No doubles.
Yeah.
Get out of position. You get back in position. Your wedge game's great. And if it doesn't, fine. You make bogey. You never talk about them.
Right.
But all I'm going to remember about Greensboro are the 2 doubles and the triple. And it all happened around the greens. We got out of position on our second shot. We tried to make up shots by getting cute. And then it led to more errors. And it was something Tiger always preached, which is just, you don't do those things. Physical errors you can handle because you can't control them, but mental errors you can. And
Yeah.
to those 3 mistakes, I could have said, hey, buddy, let's chip it to 30 feet. And it's hard when you're working for a guy who has a world-class short game, who has almost every shot. In each of those 3 instances, if you give him 10 balls, he probably could have pulled 2 of them off, maybe even 3.
Right.
The problem is if he doesn't pull them off, what happens?
Yeah.
And it ended up happening in Greensboro. I thought 20 under par was going to win the golf tournament, and 16 under par ended up winning. And it's easy to say hindsight, but it's not. I mean, just don't make those mistakes and see what happens. If you need to press on the last 3 holes. If you need to, we were pressing too early. And I say we, it's not his fault. It's my fault. It's my job in that situation to pull them back. And it just shows the importance of, you know, we get sick and tired of hearing all those one-liners like, you know, just 1 hole at a time, 1 day at a time. Don't look at leaderboards. But the problem is it's true. It's like that movie Bull Durham. They taught him to say, you know, I'm just happy to be up here. I'm just, you know, just have it just 1 pitch at a time, 1 day at a time. And it's boring, but gosh, it's true.
Yeah, it is. And it's true that we got to take a small break. Paul, stay with us. We'll be right back. But after this, we're going to talk with Luke Donald and Keith Mitchell because they know about Mizuno golf clubs. They're made for performance and feel. And they've introduced their new driver that's going to be coming out next month. And their new irons, JPX 921s and MP20s, are built for feel with absolute precision and performance. Complete your bag with the new M-Craft putters. Check out everything at MizunoGolf.com. Nothing feels like Mizuno. Reach beyond.
Hey, Justin Parsons here at the Sea Island Golf Performance Center, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. I'm with good friend and great caddy, Paul Tesori. Paul, you mentioned earlier in the interview that faith has really been a big part of the relationship with Webb.
Yes. You know, for Weber and I think anybody, when you have something so strong in common, no matter what that is for you, but for Webb and I, it's our faith. And so it's something we talk about daily. We generally pray out loud together on the way to the golf course. And, you know, people who aren't Christians or maybe who aren't that into their faith, they probably be like, what do you pray about? And for Webb and I, it's not about a win. It's not about playing well. We hope that those are just fruits of the hard work we put in, but generally it's just that we'll walk in a manner that'll be honorable to Jesus. And that's kind of the way we try to walk our lives and try to live our lives, that whoever we're playing with that day, they'll see something different. When Webb has a really poor day and they see how he's acting, they see how he's behaving, everybody says he leads the tour in strokes gained attitude. That's just our kind of way of going about that. Now, believe me, he still gets really frustrated internally. I do too. You still want to play great, and you're still called. It's his platform that he's been given. His gifts are from God. They're not from his own doing. Obviously, Rich, if you caddied for me or I caddied for you, things wouldn't be that good. But the fact is, he's been given a very special talent to do something well. And so it's always on the forefront of our mind, the way we are as husbands and dads, and obviously the way we are at work as well.
Yeah, I remember last year I tried to do an interview with Webb, and you said, yeah, just go ahead and get him here in this par 5. He walked so darn fast, I could not keep up with him.
He is a fast walker. Him and Dustin are two of the fastest walkers. I remember Colt Nost being paired with us one week, and Colt walked with us. I think it was in Vegas after a hole and a half. He's like, Paul, I'm out of breath. I'm going to hang back with you. I'm like, yeah. I lost about 10 pounds my first 6 months working for Weber, and now I just kind of let it go.
All right, so let's just say that you guys are in the Ryder Cup or you're not. I mean, we'll know probably very soon when the picks are made next week. But now that the season's over, when will you and Weber sit down and talk about next year, schedules, and goals?
Yeah, buddy, we've already done that. We did it as soon as we missed East Lake. We talked about it on the plane on what would have been, I guess, last Sunday night, leaving Cades Valley. We talked about just kind of both plans. If we make the Ryder Cup, this is our schedule. If we don't make the Ryder Cup, this is our schedule. So we kind of know. I'm very fortunate in that fact that Webb's a planner. He wants to have a game plan. The biggest thing we have is just a huge process that we've been putting back together. I had tweeted out something like earlier in the year after we missed the cut at San Diego. We had made 17 straight cuts in majors. We had a good mental week that week. We just played badly, and we just had to kind of reset our process. We need to go back to the drawing board a little bit mechanically again. Webb had missed a lot of practice time this year, a lot of workout time this year with kind of COVID. Then him and his family got the flu, and then Webb had some neck issues, just a lot of stuff going on. So we put a plan into place, and we've just started seeing the fruit of that over the last month. 4 of the last 5 tournaments he played really solidly. Top 20 in all of 4 of those 5, and really showing signs of playing good golf again, great golf again. And he just played this past week, played well again. So we're excited to get back after. If we don't make the Ryder Cup, we won't hang our heads. We'll probably get right after it and play Napa, and might add a couple more during the fall, and probably see you the last term of the year again in Sea Island. So excited about the new year, want to get off to a better start and kind of be fired up to win some golf tournaments.
Well, you and Weber spend a lot of time together, and I know one thing you don't want to get in the middle of is him and a cup of coffee.
Well, yes. So for those of you that don't know, Weber, COVID changed. So Webb used to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours a day at Starbucks. It's where he would have his quiet time. If he was reading a book, he would read his book, respond to emails, texts. It was just kind of his recharge time. He would sit at the table by himself, drink some coffee, drink some water at the same time, and just kind of get away from things a little bit. Well, COVID took that away, so he now travels with a kettle, with a grinder, with his own organic beans, and that's what he does now. That's his quiet time in the mornings, his quiet time in the afternoon, and usually what happens is people have an effect on you. So now I am at the house. I'm now doing the exact same thing. I have my kettle, I have my beans, I have my scale. I'm weighing my beans, I'm weighing my water, and going down that same route as well.
Wow. All right. Let me just ask you this. We got about a minute left. What are you and Weber working on now?
Yeah, so basically 2 things. The biggest thing we're working on is golf swing. Webb's always had a tendency to roll the club in, get it way inside, then lift it up top, big open face at the top, and then it kind of brings in both misses. You either fire really well with the hips and it leaves the face open, or you feel it, you back up on it and flip it left. So The biggest thing he's trying to do is it's okay if the club gets inside the plane, but the face can't be wide open. So
Right.
working really, really hard on trying to square the club face going back. And that's basically it, trying to get to his left side from there. And then mentally, it's just really trying to stay patient. At this stage in his career, all he wants to do is win golf tournaments. And that's a good thing, but can also be a really bad thing because you can't control a win. You especially can't control it through about the first 63 holes. As you make the turn, if you need to make things happen, but you made 2 mistakes this year, one at Sony, end up losing by 2, and obviously the mistakes I talked to you about at Greensboro. And it cost us at least 1 win, maybe 2, just trying to chase too early.
Yeah.
And so trying to stay patient through 72 holes is the biggest thing that we're working on.
Paulie, thank you. Can't wait to see you. Hope the Ryder Cup comes up, and I'll see you at RSM.
I love that. Thanks a lot, Rich. Love how always being on and stay in touch.
All right. God bless. Paul Tesori, Webb Simpson's caddy. Thanks for joining us on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.